Well, the so-called beer summit over, that was some of what Sergeant James Crowley had to say after the meeting. The attempt at brewplomacy brought him together with the president, Vice President Biden, and the black Harvard professor who Crowley arrested. Chris Glorioso found some folks who were talking about the White House sit-down over some beers of their own, and he's live right now in Park Slope, Brooklyn. Chris.
Well, Jim, we're having a beer summit of our own here at Timbo's Bar in Park Slope. And, you know, New Yorkers have no shortage of opinions when it comes to whether or not the Cambridge police acted properly in arresting Professor Gates. They also have no shortage of opinions when it comes to whether or not President Obama has made proper comments in this case. Initially, he said the police department acted stupidly. Then he backed off. And, well, today, in the Rose Garden, it all came to a head. Even before the suds were poured, the president sought to downplay any symbolic importance of this meeting between professor and police officer. It was 2 weeks ago that the white Cambridge cop James Crowley handcuffed the black Harvard scholar Henry Gates on Gates's own property. Crowley was investigating a reported break-in at the academic's home and claimed the professor became disorderly when questioned. Inside Brooklyn watering holes, Obama's Rose Garden happy hour was applauded by some and ridiculed by others.
They only doing this to try and show that Obama didn't say nothing wrong. The cop didn't do nothing wrong, and the professor didn't do nothing wrong.
I think it's probably just a big misunderstanding, and any excuse to get together and drink a beer sounds like a good one to me.
After the meeting, Sergeant Crowley declared the discussion productive, though he and Professor Gates agreed to disagree on some issues of law enforcement and race. Obama, meanwhile, insisted the meeting was not aimed at producing apologies or consensus.
I noticed this has been called the beer summit. It's a clever term, but this is not a summit, guys. This is three folks having a drink at the end of the day.
The Obama administration kept microphones far away from the drinking table, which also included Vice President Joe Biden. Some analysts point out the president took an enormous risk by making himself the mediator between two figures at the center of a controversial and complex arrest. NYU professor Charles McElwain researches race and politics.
It could really have a downside if simply they said, you know what, you're a bigot, you're a racist, and I don't need to talk to you. If Gates says that, and if Crowley on the other hand says, I can't believe that you would try to malign me in this way. Though Crowley and Gates agreed to disagree on the issues, they did agree to meet again and have another discussion, something President Obama is likely to tout as a good example of how we ought to deal with future racial controversies. And I don't know why everyone wants to know this, but they do, so I'll tell you. The beers that everyone drank: President Obama, a Bud Light, a Blue Moon for Sergeant Crowley, a Buckler low-alcoholic beer for Vice President Biden, and for Professor Gates, a Sam Adams Light. Don't know why people want to know, but they do. Katie and Jim.
It's interesting, actually. Thank you, Chris.